Hey guys, so in part 3 of the social media app using Laravel, we'll be setting up improving the UI for the post table here. So we added these buttons and the delete post button and just made it a better layout, as well as the ability to add images here. So if this is something you'd like to learn how to do, then watch this video. Okay, so next what we'll work on is improving the styling here. So we'll make it like a box layout. And then after we can add image capability so people can upload images and files to their posts. Okay, so back in VS Code. Okay, so we'll be using Tailwind in order to set this up. So what you want to do here is in the terminal is install Tailwind. Okay, so what you want to do is npm install -e Tailwind CSS post CSS auto prefixer. Okay, and then you want to create the Tailwind config. So we're going to do npx tailwind css init p. Okay, so this is already added, and then let's just go check our Tailwind config. Okay, so over here in the bottom we have Tailwind config, so just double check that you have that file, and then just make sure you have all the necessary context here. So I think this is good. So now let's just check our app.css and just make sure that Tailwind is integrated there too. Okay, so over here in our resources CSS and then open app.css. Okay, and this is good. So we have our Tailwind components here. Okay, so now we can work on updating our post index view. So go back here into the post folder, open up our index. Okay, and then I'll just close the terminal here. Okay, so let's just update our success message here. So we'll just give this class of bg green 100 border green 400 text green 700 and give it some padding. So 4 left and right and 2 up and down, and then we'll just make it rounded. Okay, and then next let's do the same for our create a post button. So we'll just make this button so it looks nicer. Okay, so first we'll wrap it up in a div here. So put a div, okay, and then just close out your a tag here. So just reopen up that div. Okay, and then we'll give this a class of flex, justify, and margin bottom of 4. Okay, and then the anchor tag will do class of bg blue 500, and then hover bg blue 600, white text, font semi bold, again margin top and bottom, and left and right, and then make it rounded. Okay, so next we'll work on our post list. So this is the most important. So again, wrap it in a div. Okay, so we'll do div, and then we'll wrap our post data. Okay, so like so, and then we'll give this a class of background white, shadow medium, rounded, padding of 4, margin bottom of 4. Okay, and then we're gonna change this from just a list view into a div as well. So we'll make a new div. Okay, and then inside here we'll have a class of flex, item center, and justify between, margin bottom of 2. Okay, and then open that up. And then we'll paste in our list item inside, and then we'll continue with the modification. Okay, so we'll remove it as a list. Okay, and then we'll create an h2 for our post user. So class is equal to font bold. Okay, and then this will be the user. Okay, and then we can remove this. Okay, and then underneath we'll create a small tag, and then we'll add in the data for when the post was created. So we'll do a class of text gray 500, and then the post data created at, and then div for human. So this will turn it into a date format. Okay, and then save that. Okay, and then we'll close out the div for this first section here. Okay, and then next we can add in our post content. So we'll just wrap this up in a paragraph class. So P, and then class is equal to margin bottom of 2. And then we'll add this content inside. Okay, and then remove that and save. Okay, and we can remove one of these extra divs here. Okay, so I think this is good. Okay, and then lastly, our delete button here. So we can just update the button here to add a class. So we'll make it a button class. So background red 500, and then give it a hover effect. Background red 600, text white, font semi bold, padding bottom, padding top and bottom of 1, left and right padding of 3, and make it rounded. Okay, save, and then let's check our application. Okay, so we just need to import our div for human method here. So let me just do that. Okay, just forgot the S here. Okay, save that, and then back on our application here. Okay, and awesome. So we have a nicer pose here. So it's in a box model, as you can see, and there's a little shadow. And then we have our buttons nicely styled, and then username, and then when it was created, and then the content here. Okay, great. So next, let's work on adding images. Okay, so first back in VS Code, we'll set up the image database. Okay, so first we'll do the migration. So open up your terminal again. Okay, and then what we want to do is PHP artisan make migration, add image path to post table, and then table is equal to post. Okay, and then open up the database migration here. Okay, I'll just close this out. Okay, and then on our up function, we'll do table string image path, and then nullable, so it can be blank if the user doesn't want to upload an image, and then make it after content. Okay, and then close that out, and then double check and save, and then we'll just run the migration. So open here in the terminal, PHP artisan migrate. Okay, great. So now we have the image path column on our database. Okay, so next let's work on updating our controller in order to allow image uploads. Okay, so what you want to do is first update the model here. So we're going to do model. So let me just close the terminal here, and then post, and then make the image path fillable. So over here in content, we'll add image path. Okay, and save that. And then next, what we're going to do is open up the post controller here. Okay, and then we'll validate the image as well. So we'll do image is equal to nullable image minus JPEG. So these will just validate that only these images can be uploaded, and then a max resolution. Okay, so that's good. And then next over here, we'll do the image store to the public folder. Okay, so we'll do image path is equal to null. And then if request as file image, okay, and then open this up. And then we'll look for the image file. So image path is equal to request file image store posts, and then in the public folder. Okay, and then after that, we'll create the post item. So we need to add the image path. Sets a new element. Image path. Okay, so this is good. Just double check. And then the redirect looks good. Okay, so I think this is good. So next what we need to do is update our create form. Okay, so we'll open that up. Okay, so over here, we can update the layout as well. Okay, so over here, let's just make the heading styled. So we'll give it a class of text Excel, font bold, margin bottom, 4. Okay, and then if there's any errors, we can give this some UI as well. So we'll make this red. Get a border, red 400, text red 700, margin left and right of 4, margin top and bottom of 2, rounded, margin bottom 4. Okay, and then our form over here. So this is okay. And then next, let's update our text area. Okay, so wrap this up in a div here. Okay, and then I'll give this a class of margin bottom 4. Okay, and then our label here. So we'll give a label for the content and give it a class of block font semi-bold, margin bottom of 2. Okay, and then label is post content. Okay, and then our text area here as well. Let's give this some styling. Okay, so give this a class of full width, border gray 300, rounded, and padding all around of 2, and then we'll give this 3 rows. So give it row is equal to 3. Okay, and then we'll give this an ID as well, so we can call it a lot easier. So we'll give it a content ID. Okay, and then next we'll create the section to upload an image. So this will be a new div. Again, give it a class of margin bottom 4. Okay, another label for the image. Class is block, font semi-bold, margin bottom of 2. And then label is attach image. We'll make it optional. Okay, and save that. And then we'll add in an input to upload a file. So this will be type file. Name is equal to image. And then accepts image. and give it our class of block, full width, border, grade 300, padding all around of 2, and rounded. And lastly, we'll do styling for our button to submit the form. Class equal to background blue 500, cover background blue 600, text white, font semi-bold, padding top and bottom of 2, padding left and right of 4, and rounded. Okay, save that. Okay, and then next we need to open up our terminal and link our storage. So we'll do PHP artisan storage link. Great, so now we have our public folder to collect images. Okay, so now let's check this on our live site. Okay, so refresh, and here's our updated create form, so it looks a lot cleaner. Okay, so I'll just upload an image here, and then we still need to set up the view on the front end, so I'll do that after. So let's just say test post with image. Okay, so I'll just upload an image here of my logo. Okay, and post that. Okay, so let me just double check our validation here and see if I messed up something. So back in VS Code in our post controller. Okay, I'll just close the terminal here. And then over here with the images, let me just double check. Okay, so I just did PNG twice. So let me just remove that. Okay, and save this and just double check again. Okay, so it's good. Let me try to re-upload again. Okay, so test post with image. Okay, I'll select the image here. Okay, so JPEG image, and then I'll paste. Okay, so back in VS Code, just in the create form. Okay, just here in the form, we need to add enc type just to allow the uploading of images. So we'll do enc type equal to multi-part form data. Okay, and save this. So this will allow the file to be uploaded, and let's try again. Okay, so I'll just clear the cache and refresh. Test post with image. Okay, I'll just pick an image here. And post. Awesome. So great, so the post is successful. Now I need to add the image to the view. So this should be easy. So go back into VS Code here. And just in the post index over here. So if there's an image, you want to add it underneath the content here. Okay, so first we need to check if there's an image. So at if post image path, so if there's an image present, and then I'll just close that off. And then another div, class margin bottom of 2. And then we'll call the image. So image src is equal to assets. And then it'll be in your storage. And then cascade the image path. Okay, just double check. Okay, and then we'll just give it a class as well. Okay, so we'll give it a class of max, full width, height auto, and rounded. Okay, and save. Okay, just a little typo over here. So just need to remove the $sign here, the variable call, and then as well down here. Okay, so this one here is good. Okay, so let's double check our application. Awesome. So the image is showing here, so we can resize it as well. Let's just make it 50%. Okay, so just over here. Okay, so I'll just show you the other stuff here if you couldn't see it. Okay, so we'll just make this width of half. Okay, and save that. And then check our application, and there we go. So this is a lot cleaner. And then I'll just upload one more for testing. So test post with image 2. And post, awesome. So now we have a nicer looking UI, and we have the ability to upload images. So this includes part 3 of the social media app using Laravel. And if you'd like help with your Laravel project or any web development project, then you can contact me at mapletmedia.ca. Please like and subscribe to stay up to date on my latest videos, and thanks for watching.